Welcome back to the Nightlife Podcast directly from Mao in Wynwood. One more time. I love this location, man. If it wasn't for the fact that there's somebody behind me watching over all the time. So remember to follow us at nightlifepodcast.com. You follow me on Instagram at the Nightlife Entrepreneur. You find us on YouTube, on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want. And today we're going to do another one of those short episodes where I answer one of your questions. As a matter of fact, today I'm going to answer one question that is the most asked question of all time. What is a good promoter deal? What is a good promoter deal? All right. First things first. There are two types of promoter deals or two types of promoters. Sub-promoters, main promoters. I'm hoping you guys are all starting as sub-promoters first, then work your way up to main promoters. Don't try to skip the line. For a sub-promoter, what a good deal is simple and is just based on two things. Per head or productivity plus commission. You don't want a salary unless it's something that you really need to feel comfortable with and you grow into that. Anybody who's a main promoter should not be giving a sub-promoter a salary unless they earn it. All right? So no salaries, productivity, it's best. You can grow, and believe me, you will if you follow the steps. Number two, the main promoter. What is a good deal for the main promoter? Okay, so let's start from the bottom up. What is a bad deal? Salary, again, okay? I just did an episode about a group of people in Taiwan who had a salary pretty much and were trying to grow a Wednesday night, and it just doesn't work that way. You need to be able to grow, and you need to be able to feel it if it's not good. When things go down, everybody should feel it, and when it's good, everybody should celebrate. So try to stay away from salaries because it's just not it's not good for the business in general. All right. Number two, bad again. Not having any kind of bar percentage and being concentrated 100% on the door. The bad thing about this is the fact that you're going to concentrate on charging people at the door and forget about the bar, meaning you're most likely not going to care about sales at the bar or at the tables. And this is not good usually for the owners. This is one of the reasons I see a lot of promoters and owners not have a good relationship. The owners feel that when they do this deal and they keep 100% of the bar, they're doing something great because that's their thing and they don't want anybody touching it. And you give the promoters the door because it's just a door. Whatever. No. Yeah, you might have $20 at the bar and a $2,000 door, because that is kind of the range. 10% of whatever the bar sells is what your door will do. But it's the $2,000 are going straight to the promoter's pocket, while from the $20,000 sales, if the promoter gets a percentage, let's say you're giving them only like 10%, that's another $2,000. So the door is meaningful, yes, but if you only have a door, you are most likely not gonna be working the right way for what we need, which is, one more time, a good relationship, long-lasting relationship, which means sales that benefit both sides. Okay, so now let's jump to the next one. And this is not bad; it's, I guess, okay. Is having 100% of the door and some bar, like a 10% of the bar or a scale even. How does a scale work? Okay, let's say you start with 0% of the bar, from 0 sales to 5,000 sales, because the bar tells you, okay, I need a bar guarantee of $5,000 because those are my expenses to open the doors. Understood. Okay, so after that, if you sell from 5,000 to 10,000, then you make 10%. So let's say you make $8,000 sales, you're getting $800, right? 10%. You sell over 10 grand and then you get 15, and then you sell over 20 grand and then you get your 20%. Nothing higher than 20%. Anybody that gives you over 20%, run. And I will explain that later. So that's a deal that I guess is okay. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. Let's go into a good deal. A good deal is a deal that mixes door and bar. That's a good thing. Now, having a deal like a 50% of the door and 20% of the bar is a good deal. But then at the same time, you got to make sure that you know what kind of expenses you're covering for those 50% of the door they're giving you. A lot of the times when clubs will start giving you like 50% of the door and 20% of the bar, they want you to take care of some expenses. But sometimes that 50% of the door won't be enough, because since the club has another 50% of the door, they usually bring a lot of people in free. And it just becomes something that also brings issues to the table because of the fact that the door belongs to two different companies. This is when competition starts between club owners and promoters. You don't want to have a competition. You want to have two teams working as one. All right. So let's go to the next type of deal, and that is what I would say the best deal, and that's having 100% of the door, 20% of the bar, and besides that, sponsors 50% of the sponsorships. What do I mean by sponsorships? I mean anyone that is going to help you, anything that's going to mean a dollar towards the business, that is not a door sale or a bar sale. Anything that means free liquor, anything that means, anything that comes in as sponsorship that is found through you. You got to understand this. This is not what the club gets on their own. This is what you bring to the table. You bring something to the table. Let's say that you find a company, a liquor company that's willing to give you $2,000 to spend on ads, on sponsored ads. Dude, take that money. You're going to use it towards your night, right? But they're usually going to tell you, okay, all I need from you is that you got to buy a certain amount of cases. Now the club has to buy that. So that's why you split this, because it's a benefit that you're bringing to the table, but the club has to make a purchase. So you got to be on the team, all right? 100% of the door, 20% of the bar. That is the best deal that you should be getting. Why no more than 20% of the bar? And I hear a lot of people getting deals of like 30% of the bars and sometimes even more. The reality is, after owning a few clubs, you learn right away that there's a certain percentage that a club is going to bring back to the table. If you're in a restaurant business, it's going to be between 16 to 25%. If you are in the nightlife business, it's going to be a little more, but it's going to be between 20 and 40% profits. Whatever your sales are, 20 to 40% of that is what the profits are going to be. So if you have one night in one club and that one club is giving you 20% of their bar, you are their partner that night. So expect to be treated that way, but also make sure that you're treating the club and your partner, which is the club owner that day, respectfully too. All right? So after all that, you know that what a good deal is, what a bad deal is, and somewhere in the middle, which, by the way, you got to grow up towards being able to get 100% of the door and 20% of the bar, sponsorships, all that. What about perks? Okay, perks are drinks, bottles, and food. Those are the only things you should be getting from the club. How many? Depends on the team that you have. On average, we use 4 drinks per promoter. So I have a team of 30 promoters right now. 30 promoters times 4. That's a lot of free drinks. But that means that if I'm getting 4 drinks per promoter, I can't just give every promoter 4 drinks out unless they're bringing people. The way that we're doing this is we give each sub-promoter 2 drinks when they arrive and 2 drinks when they already show that they have a certain amount of people at the door. So you can move that around all you want, but in the end, make sure that you're controlling this. You don't want all those drinks out there. Same goes for the bottles that you're getting. The bottles that you're getting need to be controlled, meaning let's say you get 4 bottles for the main promoters if you're a team, and then you get your promoters earn bottles according to what they produce and all that kind of stuff. Let's say you're a promoter who brings 30 people to the table. In our case, this is what we do. You bring 30 people, you get a free bottle. You bring 4 bottles or 4 tables sold, you get a free bottle. That kind of thing. You can use it that night, you can use it the following week, etc. Point is, don't go crazy. Only use what's needed. All right. Food just depends on the venue, if you're working at a restaurant or not. If it's a restaurant, it's great to have food. As a matter of fact, one of the things that are growing nowadays is those pre-parties, which are based around food, dinner parties. it's always good to have food for ladies, especially for the ladies, and of course yourself, whoever's the promoter. Also make sure that you're getting perks different nights, that whatever night of the week that you go to that place where you're working, you're getting for free, you get a couple drinks, if the bartenders will treat you right and all that kind of stuff. And the last thing that you need to get from a club is a budget, meaning they need to help with the stuff that they're gonna use anyway, meaning DJs, entertainment, door staff, that kind of thing. The only moment where you're gonna start paying for those things is when you get 100% of the door, 20% of the bar, and sponsorships. But make sure that you're not paying for all of it. You gotta split between the club, they're getting most of the cut, and you're the one bringing the clients. So hope you understand and got to learn a little bit about what a good deal is for a promoter. And then next week, we'll see what we'll talk about. Say hello over there. See you next week. Remember, the Nightlife Podcast, I almost brought this down. The Nightlife Podcast, nightlifepodcast.com, the Nightlife Entrepreneur on Instagram, and iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you want to go.